papers now from Flow, international ones we're talking about today, reacting to that major pipeline deal flow between Turkey and Russia, two countries that really not been getting along until recently.
That's right. It seems like the days of that diplomatic freeze between Moscow and Ankara are long gone. Let's take a look at the front page of Hurriyet Daily News. You can see a photo of the presidents smiling there at the World Energy Congress in Istanbul. You can see them there with this headline, Turkey and Russia work to develop the Turkish Stream. Now, this is the name of that major project that's going to allow Russia to transport natural gas to Turkey and Europe under the Black Sea. It's a huge project, and a lot of papers are saying a political move behind it. Let's take a look at the front page of the Lebanese paper, L'Orient Le Jour. You can see on their front page, Moscow is moving its chess pieces forward in the region. It's just the latest move from the Russian president.
Yeah, and of course, Flo, this is coming right as there's been a lot of tension, obviously, between Russia and the West. Moscow vetoing this French-drafted UN Security Council resolution demanding this immediate end to airstrikes across the Syrian city of Aleppo.
That's right. We saw that was the leading story, of course, in the French press today. It's a major slap in the face to French diplomacy. Take a look at the front page of the Moscow Times. You can see they're talking about a breakdown. It's quite dramatic, this front page. You can see here the Secretary of State John Kerry and the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov quite literally turning their backs to each other. Relations between Russia and the West take a sharp turn for the worst, and the Moscow Times says there's a lot of reasons to be very concerned about what's going on.
Another big story in the press today. Papers are actually focusing on unrest in Ethiopia. Now, the government has announced a state of emergency to last for 6 months there.
That's right. As you can imagine, this is a huge story in Ethiopia. Let's take a look first at Addis Fortune, talking about Ethiopia under the state of emergency. You can see a photo of the prime minister there announcing these new measures. Now, the government has justified this 6-month state of emergency by accusing foreign-funded gangs of being responsible for this protest movement that's been really rocking the country for several months now. You can read all about it here in Fortune, in Addis Fortune. It's blaming, in particular, gangs from Egypt and Eritrea, two countries that are quite rivals of Ethiopia.
And the protesters have actually been targeting foreign-owned businesses. Obviously, that's upsetting investors, isn't it?
That's right. You can read more about that in the Wall Street Journal today, that's talking about how this unrest is unnerving investors in Ethiopia. More than 130 private concerns have been attacked in recent weeks. Now, there's a very interesting article, I must admit, in France 24 on our own website, has really good analysis about what's happening in Ethiopia. Points out that, it's quite classic for an authoritarian government to blame foreigners for upsetting the peace at home. And according to our journalists here at France 24, it's proof that authorities are panicking in the face of this protest movement. This protest movement has been launched by members of the country's two largest ethnic groups. They're protesting against human rights abuses and the government's monopoly over power. You can see here France 24 saying that there is a paranoia that's growing in the capital.
Another story that's rather different today. Hungary. Papers there reacting to the shutdown of the country's largest broadsheet newspaper.
That's right. I'm going to try to pronounce the name right. It's Nepzagbadság.
10 out of 10, I think.
It means the freedom of the people. Closed down on Sunday after 60 years. Now, officially, it's for economic reasons. Sales have reportedly plunged 75% over the last year. But you can see a lot of papers are saying this as quite a political move. This is the Nepzava. That's another paper calling it a dark Sunday in the country's history, and this is an interesting analysis piece by a journalist called Gabo Horvath from another paper called the Magyar Nemzet. Hope I'm pronouncing all these names right. He really sees this as a political move because the paper that closed down was very critical of the Prime Minister Viktor Orban. He says clearly the government just can't take criticism anymore.
And finally, US politics. Papers continuing to react to Sunday night's presidential debate. Some comments, of course, that Donald Trump made about women there.
That's right. Now, during that debate, you might remember Donald Trump tried to play down these comments that sparked quite a scandal. He was caught on tape bragging about the fact that he abused women. During the debate, he said it was locker room banter. Well, a lot of people were quite upset that he described that way. The New York Times has a very interesting analysis piece about the fact that millions of women have actually been taking to social media to share their own experiences of abuse. Now, this actually happened before the debate, but it's really picked up speed after the debate. They're using the hashtag not okay. It's a movement that's actually been kind of a collective purge of painful, often long buried memories. Now, what's interesting is a lot of athletes were also very upset about the fact that Donald Trump used those words to describe those comments he made. You can see here lots of athletes have said, we work. This is where we work, and we do not speak that way in our locker rooms. You can see here a photo of the basketball player Blake Griffin. He was among many who took to Twitter to lash out against Donald Trump.
Okay, thank you.